Namaste and good morning everyone. We'll start our class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are facing difficulties. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकम् इव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकम् इव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकम् इव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Welcome everyone. We'll start our class with the next verse of Bhagavad Gita, that is verse 29. So I'll chant the verse and you can repeat after me. Sanjaya Uvacha Tam eva muktva Hrishikesham Gudakeshah Parantapaha Nayotsya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babhuvaha. Now I'll chant the whole verse in together. Sanjaya Uvacha Evam Uktva Hrishikesham Gudakeshah Parantapaha Nayotsya iti Govindam Uktva Tushnim Babhuvaha. We'll go to the word meanings, word analysis. So if you look at the types of the words, first, it's nominal. Uvacha is a verb that we have done earlier. Evam is indeclinable. Uktva is an indeclinable. Hrishikesham is nominal. Gudakesha is nominal. Parantapaha is nominal. Na is indeclinable. Yotsya is a verb. Iti is indeclinable. Govindam is a noun, nominal. Uktva coming again in the same verse, indeclinable. Tushnim is also indeclinable. Babhu is a verb. And ha is an indeclinable. So we'll see, this is again, as you notice, the verse is in Anushtup Chanda. So earlier we were having these verses which were in the Trishtup Chanda, that means 11 syllables in each quartet. Again, we are in the Anushtup Chanda, that is the most common meter in Bhagavad Gita. About 90% of the verses are in this meter, where 8 syllables are there in 4 quartets. Sanjaya, it is like Ramaha. It is nominal, nominative, singular, masculine. Base word is Sanjaya. And this is the name. Uvacha is a verb form, and this has been quite common, like right from the verse 2:1 we had this Sanjaya Uvacha, the same verb form we had in the verse 1. So I can take from here. And this is a lit past tense, third person, singular, parasmaipadi, and the root is vach, means to say, to speak. So this becomes essentially one sentence. Sanjaya Uvacha. Sanjaya spoke, or Sanjaya said. And then what did he say? So that is the next. Evam is an indeclinable. So an indeclinable means we just have to have the meaning of the word. There is no case or the tense associated with an indeclinable word. So thus, Uktva is also indeclinable, and that means having spoken, or you can say after speaking. Rishikesham. So there are some indeclinables which are in the form of particles like evam, and there are some indeclinables which are derived from the verbs. So this is derived from the verb vach, the same verb from which this root is derived, and it means having spoken. Hrishikesham, it is the accusative like Ramam, singular, masculine, and base word is Hrishikesha. This is name of Lord Krishna. Gudakeshaha. This is again like Ramaha. So nominative singular masculine. And here the base word is Gudakesha. This is the name of Arjuna. Parantapaha. This is also nominative singular masculine. And the base word here is Parantapa. It means scorcher of the enemies. So scorcher of the enemies, or you can say vanquisher of the enemies. So one who, it means paran tapayati. Paran means enemies, and one who literally means scorches them, but essentially it means one who defeats the enemies, one who removes the enemies. Na is indeclinable, means not. Yotsye, it is a verb form, and this is lut lakara, the future form. First person, singular, parasmaipadi. Sorry, this is atmanipadi. And here the root is yudh. Means to fight. So it's a future tense, it's a first person, means I will not, I will fight. And with the particle not, it becomes I will not fight. That's what it would mean. So lut yudh means to fight, and because it's a future tense, singular, first person, and with the particle not, I will not fight. That's what it would mean. Iti, thus, Govindam. So this is like the same as Hrishikesham. The form is exactly the same. And this is another name of Lord Krishna. Here the base word would be different, of course, but on the same pattern. Grammatically, they are equivalent words. Govindam, Hrishikesham. Uktva, we are again seeing this word here. It's an indeclinable. Tushnim is also indeclinable, means silent. Babhuva, it is a past tense. It's a lit lakara. It's a lit lakara past tense. And it's a third person, singular, parasmaipadi. Here the base word is Govinda. Parasmaipadi, and the root is bhu. To be. So bhu becomes babhuba. So that means he became. Because it's a past tense, it's a third person singular, it would mean he became. Ha is indeed or used for emphasis. So this is what our verse is. So if you look at now, if we split the verse into the smaller components, we would see that its meaning is fairly easy. So one component is Sanjay Uvacha. This is one component. Sanjay said. So here remember, the whole Gita is being told by Sanjay to Dhritarashtra, and in turn he is telling that what is Arjuna doing, what is Arjuna saying, what is Krishna saying. So the whole Mahabharata war, the way it is, because Dhritarashtra is blind and he could not watch the war, he requested Lord Vyasa to help him, and Lord Vyasa said, okay, I'll give the divine eyesight to Sanjaya, his charioteer and come minister, and Sanjaya will narrate the story, so he can see while sitting in the drawing room the whole scenario of the war, and from there he can narrate to you. So he can not only see, but he can also perceive what a person is thinking. So Sanjay was able to narrate the whole thing the way it was going to Dhritarashtra, the king, blind king. So that's where the Sanjay Uvacha. So he's speaking to Dhritarashtra. What is he saying is, so evam uktva, after speaking thus. So if you look at the verb here, there are two verbs. So remember, the Sanskrit sentences with the follows our verbal forms. So one is Yotsye, another is Babhuva. So Yotsye is coming with the iti. Generally, when it comes with the iti, it means a quotation mark. So na Yotsye iti, I will not fight. That itself becomes a sentence. So remaining part becomes another sentence. So this becomes a sentence within a sentence. It's like a quotation mark within under the whole sentence. So what is the whole sentence here? Babhuva. He became. Who became? Or became what? Or became, so who became? So if you look at the subject here, which is comes in the nominative singular, it is Gudakeshaha Parantapaha Arjuna. So he's referring to Arjuna became scorcher of the enemies. So this is the adjective of Arjuna. So Arjuna, who is the scorcher of the enemies, he became silent. Tushnim is the silent. So he became silent. That's the essentially the sentences, that Arjuna became silent. And indeed, he indeed became silent. He's just emphasizing that part, that he indeed became silent. And then there are other things. So, evam uktva Hrishikesham. After speaking to Lord Krishna, thus. So, what thus represents here is the whatever Arjuna has spoken in the previous verses. So, if you remember in the previous verses, Arjuna was justifying and his stand first why it is not good, the war is not good, and then he confesses that I am really confused. I am terribly confused and I become your disciple. Please tell me clearly what is good for me. And the pain it is generating in me, this confusion, the sorrow, that I do not see any way out of it, even if I attain the whole kingdom of the earth as well as of the heaven, of the gods in the heaven. So I do not see a way out of it. So that's where he surrenders to Lord Krishna and says, so that's what he has spoken. So thus having spoken. So after speaking this to Lord Krishna, Arjuna became silent. And he also said this, na yotsye iti govindam uktva. So again so there are two uktva here. So one is being referred to what Arjuna spoke in the previous verses. And then another uktva is having spoken, or after speaking, he spoke this sentence also. Na yotsye iti. I will not fight. So again he is speaking to Lord Krishna. I will not fight. Saying thus, he became silent. So this is Sanjaya is the way he is reporting to Lord Dhritarashtra, that after speaking all the things which Arjuna said to Lord Krishna, he again said that I will not fight, and became silent, really became silent. So that's what the meaning is of the verse. So if you look at the translation here, having thus spoken to Sri Krishna, Arjuna, the vanquisher of enemies, again said to him, I will not fight, and became silent. There are some interesting words here, particularly the ones which are referring to Arjuna and Lord Krishna. So there is a word for Lord Krishna, Hrishikesham. Hrishika, it is a compound word. It actually means Hrishika plus Isham. So the way this word is formed, Hrishika plus Isha. Hrishika is the organs, sense organs, and Isha is the lord. So the lord of the sense organs. It can also be considered as lord of all the actions, because we perform all the actions through our organs. So he is the master of the senses. So that's what is being referred to the Lord Krishna. That's the adjective Sanjay is using here. And the adjective for Arjuna he is using is Gudakesha. That is the name of Arjuna. And it is also a compound word. And it means Gudaka plus Isha. Gudaka, I should put in the comments. Gudaka means sleep or sloth or a tamoguna, you can say. So Arjuna is the law. For Arjuna, he is saying he is the lord of the sleep, or essentially one who has overcome his sloth. So one who is not given to tamoguna. That's what the adjective to Arjuna specifies. Gudakesha. Parantapa, another adjective for Arjuna. He is the vanquisher of enemies. He is never the one to run away from the battle. And another adjective of Lord Krishna is Govinda. Govinda generally can refer to the Lord of the cows, and it comes from Lord Krishna's childhood in Vrindavan, where he was taking care of the cows. But it also means the one who knows. So Gam also refers to Vedavani, the scriptures, the Vedas. So one who knows Vedas and one who is known through Vedas, through the knowledge, through the supreme knowledge. So Lord Krishna, and that kind of description of Lord Krishna comes to in Gita quite a few times later on also. So he knows, he has all the knowledge, and plus it through the Vedic knowledge he is the one who is attained. So Gudakesha is telling the quality of a seeker, because Arjuna has surrendered to Lord as a disciple to a guru. So he is not in the sloth. He is not under the spell of tamoguna. At the same time, he is not afraid of the battle. Here, the battle could be inner battle, whereby he has to face whatever obstacles will come in the path of attaining that highest good. He is not afraid of any obstacles coming in the way. He is very committed to this knowledge. When he is asking Lord Krishna that tell me definitely what is good for me. So he is not under the spell of tamoguna. He is not in the slothful mood. He is quite attentive. At the same time, he is ready to face any challenges. And Lord Krishna's adjective is that one who is the master of the senses and one who is the master of all the knowledge. So he is the Lord of the senses and he is the Lord of the knowledge. The perfection in a guru one can find. So in other words, this is a meeting ground of an ideal disciple with an ideal guru. And Bhagavad Gita can take place in such a setting. And Arjuna this is also another aspect. Arjuna became silent, that he has spoken whatever he had to speak. He has surrendered. And after that, he is prepared to listen. He is not, when he says, I will not fight, it has been interpreted in two different ways. Remember Lord Krishna in 2:7, verse number 2:7, he said, I am your disciple, who please teach me, who has taken refuge in you. And here he is saying, I will not fight. It kind of seems like contradictory, because one who has surrendered has no right to say that I will do this or I will not do this. So that is one way to look at it, that Arjuna is saying, I will not fight. On the other hand, if you look at from a seeker's perspective, he is saying that my mind is not going towards that I have to do this and I have to do that. I am completely prepared to listen to you, whatever you say. That means even though war is pending, the chariot of Arjuna is in the middle of both the armies. He is saying, my mind is not in the war, that this will happen or that will happen. Right now I am prepared, I am ready to listen to you. And then he became really silent. So you can have this verse interpreted in a few different ways. And then when you see the verse 2:10, together they kind of make sense. So I'll chant this verse. You can repeat after me in your place. Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayormadhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. Now the whole verse together. Tamuvacha Hrishikeshaha Prahasanniva Bharata Senayorubhayormadhye Vishidantamidam Vachaha. So we'll see the analysis here. It's a nominal pronoun. Uvacha is a verb, again coming from, we saw it in the last verse itself. Hrishikesha, it's a nominal. Prahasan, it's a nominal. Iva is indeclinable. Bharata is nominal. Senayoho is nominal. Mubhayo is nominal. Actually, Ubhayo is a pronoun. Madhye is nominal. Vishidantam is nominal. Idam is pronoun. Vachaha is nominal. So again, this verse is in Anushtup meter. Its levels in all the four quartets. And a few verses from now onwards will be in Anushtup meter, in the same meter. And then again we will see in this chapter a few verses in the Trishtup meter. Tam, it's an accusative case, singular, gender masculine, base word is tad, meaning him. Uvacha, you can take from the previous verse. Means spoke. Hrishikesha, we saw this word, nominative, singular, masculine. Name of Lord Krishna. Prahasan, it is also nominative, singular, masculine. Sorry. So here this is a little bit different kind of base word. It's prahasat, and it becomes prahasan in the nominative singular masculine. Means laughing. That is one who is laughing. It is in the nominative singular. So laughing as it refers to the one who is laughing, not the act of laughing. Eva, it's an indeclinable. It means as though. Bharata is a vocative, singular, masculine. So the base word is the same like Rama. And this is, it's a vocative form. So it's an address. So Sanjaya is speaking to Dhritarashtra. So he is saying, "O Bharata." Bharata refers to the one who is descendant of Bharata. Descendant of Bharata. So the whole clan was descendant from a king called Bharata in the ancient times. So both Kauravas and Pandavas, they are Bharata. That's why in Bhagavad Gita you will find this word being used for Arjuna quite a few times by Lord Krishna, because Arjuna belongs to the same lineage, same clan. Senayoho, it is the sixth case. It's dual. It's feminine. The word here is Sena. So Sena means army, or essentially it would become between the, because it's a genitive, so you can actually say here between the two armies. Between the two armies. So Sena means army, but Senayoho would become between the two armies because it's a dual and it's a genitive case. Ubhayo is also the adjective of Sena, and here the base word is Ubha, means both. So it is between the both armies. That's what it essentially means. It's even without Ubhayo, it is clear even from Senayo, between the two armies. This is just given as an adjective to further specify between the two armies. Madhye, this is seventh case locative, singular, neuter, and here it's like vane, vanam, vane, vanan. Seventh case like madhya, so it becomes madhye in the seventh case singular, means middle. Vishidantam. This word has come earlier in the first verse of Gita itself. So if you remember, Vishidantam. For Arjuna it came, one who is lamenting. So it's a nominal, sorry, I should have taken here. So it's accusative case, singular, masculine. Vishidat is the base word. It's like prahasat. So prahasan, it becomes vishidantam in the accusative case. Lamenting, again this is the referring to the person in the second accusative, second case, not to the act of lamenting itself. Idam, it's accusative, singular, neuter. The base word is idam itself. It's a pronoun. It's a demonstrative pronoun, means this. And vachaha, it is also accusative, singular, neuter. The base word here is vachas. And this means speech, words. So now if you look at here, we have only one verb form, uvacha. So essentially, it's a single sentence. The whole verse is one sentence. So, Hrishikesha, Krishna, it is in the nominative singular. So, Krishna spoke. That's what it means. Krishna spoke. And this is the adjective of Krishna. Okay, because it's in the nominative singular, masculine, same case. So, Krishna spoke laughing, as though laughing. So, not laughing like smiling. So, Krishna, is, while smiling, spoke. He spoke to him, whom, him, tam, accusative singular masculine. And here you can see also accusative singular masculine. So that refers to, he spoke to him who was lamenting, Arjuna. So this is an adjective for Arjuna because Arjuna was in a state of dejection. So Lord Krishna spoke to Arjuna. What did he say? So these words, this speech or these words, so whatever the follows, these are the words he spoke to Arjuna. And where he was, that's described here by Senayor Ubhayor Madhye, in the middle of both the armies. So remember, that's where the chariot is standing. So Lord Krishna did not move the chariot that now I am going to give you this great self-knowledge, so let us go into a secluded place. He actually right there and then, right in that setting, he started teaching Arjuna. Because Arjuna surrendered right in that setting itself. He did not request Lord Krishna that let us go somewhere and then we will discuss about it. So he surrendered. He said, tell me what is good for me, what is certainly really good for me. And Lord Krishna started teaching right in the middle of the armies. So the sentence, then the whole sentence will becomes, O Dhritarashtra, that is, O Bharata, that is referring to the dialogue between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. O Dhritarashtra, Sri Krishna, as if smiling, as if laughing, addressed the following words to grieving Arjuna in the midst of the two armies. So from next verse onwards, what he said, that becomes, those are the words. So that is from the 211 onwards. So many masters consider that actual teaching of Gita starts from this verse 211. And the oldest commentary on Gita is by Adi Shankaracharya. And he starts his commentary on Gita from this verse, from 211. So till 210, he hasn't given the commentary of the verses. This is the background in which Gita flowers. And the actual teachings start from 211. So even though Lord Krishna spoke earlier, as we saw in verse 2:2, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, he spoke, but that was more as an advice to a friend. When he is speaking now, it is more as the instructions of a guru to a disciple, because now Arjuna has surrendered to Lord, requesting him that please teach me what is really good for me, what is definitely good for me. You please teach me. So there is a clear difference in the kind of instructions Lord Krishna is giving. So the actual teaching of Gita starts, and it becomes quite interesting from that point onwards. And second chapter, as I had mentioned in the earlier, that it is the summary of whole Gita. The second chapter and 18th chapter, these two chapters are considered summary of whole Gita. So in this chapter, Lord Krishna speaks about Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, both in fairly good detail, and then there is expansion in other chapters of different aspects of it. So the question comes is that why is Lord Krishna smiling? And there have been different interpretations. Why is he giving the instructions as though laughing, like smiling? So one thing we discussed already, that Arjuna tells in verse number 27 that I surrender to you. And then in verse 29, before he became silent, he says, I will not fight. So it seems like a contradictory, that on the one hand you are becoming a disciple, you are saying I surrender to you, please teach me, and on the other hand you are putting a condition first, that I will not fight. So that could be one way to interpret this Lord Krishna is speaking smiling. Another is very clear from the next verse, when we see that next verse, that he is seeing Arjuna lamenting for something which is not worth lamenting. Arjuna is putting forth so many arguments, so many seemingly cogent arguments, that why war should not take place, why I should not be a part of the war. And Lord Krishna is as if laughing, just like a child is giving a lot of intelligent sounding arguments, but essentially he's trying to just get maybe some candy from a parent, but he may be giving a lot of intelligent sounding arguments. So that is another thing. Some people have given it as a positive thing also, that this is what Lord Krishna has been waiting for, this moment. So in all their life, Arjuna and Krishna have been very close friends. They shared so many things together. And yet, there was never an occasion where Lord Krishna could impart this knowledge to Arjuna, because Arjuna never asked for it. He was never in a mood where this knowledge was really important for him. And it happened in the battlefield, in the middle of the two armies. So even though it happened quite after so many years of their relationship, and it happened in the battlefield, but this is the highest thing ever Lord Krishna wanted to impart to his dearest friend Arjuna. But opportunity never arose. So Lord Krishna is really happy that finally, okay, even in this situation, at least an opportunity has come. Arjuna has understood that this is the thing which is worth having compared to any other thing. And he is really happy that, okay, that opportunity has come for me to impart this highest knowledge to my dear friend. And that's what kind of preparation, if you look at in terms of Arjuna's. First he started with blaming Duryodhana for the miserable situation he was in. Then when Lord Krishna, and he is giving a lot of arguments why he should not be a part of this war. Then when Lord Krishna said, this is the cowardice has come upon you, give it up and get up and fight. And then he first tries to justify, then he understands that it is the confusion, it is the lack of clarity within him that is causing the pain and sorrow in him, not an external situation. So the blame for my sorrow going out to an external factor, I have understood that it is because of the lack of clarity within me, and that's a very important step on the part of a disciple or a seeker. If you are always assuming that problem is outside of you, then I have very little control to solve that problem. A seeker is the one who actually understands that his problem, the source of problem is within, in terms of his lack of understanding, lack of clarity. And so Arjuna has got, even though he is having that lack of clarity and he is in sorrow, but he has that clarity. He got that clarity. So that is called viveka, the discrimination. That it's not some external factor or external situation is he can blame for his sorrow. It is his lack of clarity, and that, based upon his cultural background, he knew can only be removed by supreme knowledge. And that's what he requests. He became a disciple for that, and he requests Krishna to impart that knowledge to him. Also in the verse 2:8, so that is the viveka, the discrimination, that quality Arjuna displayed. And then he said in the verse 2:8 that even on obtaining undisputed sovereignty and an affluent kingdom on this earth and lordship over the gods, I do not see any means that can drive away the grief, which is drying up my senses. So that is a quality of vairagya, the dispassion, that he understands that nothing else is important in terms of gaining something that will help him. And that gives the dispassion, that vairagya. So Arjuna has the quality of vairagya, and these are the very important two qualities, and he naturally shows the desire to have this knowledge, that is mumukshutva, the desire for liberation, desire to be free from sorrow. All of us have desire to be free from sorrow. That's very natural for us. But that commitment that indeed this is the thing which can take care of my sorrow. We try to get rid of our sorrow by so many different ways, to either try to gain something or try to get rid of something. Here Arjuna understands very clearly that nothing is going to help him in this situation. It's that's knowledge alone which will help him to gain that clarity and remove the sorrow. So Arjuna displays all the qualities of a very sincere and true seeker. So in that sense, this is another way to interpret that Lord is smiling, that okay, now that time has come, and no matter where you are and what the situation is, whichever time a person has awoken to the need for this truth, that is the right time. So let me take some questions now. So there is a question, can Parantapa be used for King Dhritarashtra and maybe is in the vocative singular form? Okay, so this is related to verse 9. You see the word here Parantapaha. In some texts, you will find the word Parantapa. That means without the Visarga. So the word would become Parantapa like this. And if it is a Parantapa without Visarga, then it is not a nominative singular. It becomes a vocative singular. And that means it is an address to Dhritarashtra. So Sanjay is speaking, Sanjay is talking to Dhritarashtra, and he is telling Dhritarashtra that, O Parantapa, O scorcher of enemies. So both readings are there. To me, it makes more sense to accept this reading, because for Parantapa as a address for Dhritarashtra has not come in Mahabharata, other places, because Dhritarashtra did not fight wars. He was blind. So that kind of adjective has not come for him. But for Arjuna, it has come many times and it's very common. So, but both, I have seen both readings. Meaning changes slightly, but grammatically both are correct. There is another question. Why is Vachaha accusative? So this is the Vachaha. This is the base form Vachas. It's a neuter. That's how the forms are made. We, in our Sanskrit class, which is going in parallel, we have not studied these base forms yet. But that's how the base forms, that both nominative singular as well as the accusative singular, they both are Vacha. That's why. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the window, chat window, and we can discuss those questions. So I am not seeing any more questions, and there is not enough time to go for verse 211. So we'll go to verse 211 next time. And this is another question here. How is the word Vishidantam derived? Vishidantam is derived from Vishidat. And again, this is not a form we have studied yet in Sanskrit class. We will be studying this one though. But we have not studied it yet. So Vishidat means one who is lamenting, and it is a participle form. And we will see in more detail that how is it derived and becomes the Vishidantam. What is the meaning of Gudaka? That I already explained. Gudaka means sleep or sloth. So Gudakesha Arjuna is considered the lord of sleep, or in other words, you can say lord, one who is not subject to sloth, who is free from tamoguna. There is a question here. Where is Bharata located? Does it refer to the land we now know as India, or does it have a deeper significance? So here Bharata does not refer to the land. The verse here where it says Bharata, this is the address to Dhritarashtra. So this is the name for Dhritarashtra. It means descendant of Bharata. As per Sanskrit grammar rules, the descendant of Bharata, there was a king that would become Bharata. So Bharata here does not refer to the country name of the country, though it is also the name of the country. And as per some legends, it has come, the name of the country has become on the king of the same name, Bharata. But here in this verse, the Bharata, the word is referring to not to the country, but to the person, Dhritarashtra specifically, who is born in that clan of Bharata. Okay, there is a question, na yotsye. Can you explain this word? I explained this word, na yotsye. This is the word, na yotsye. So in Sandhi, because it's a yotsye iti, it becomes yotsya iti. So that's how it becomes. So it's a yotsye, that's the word. And because of the Sandhi between two, it becomes yotsya iti. It's a ayadi Sandhi. We have studied this very thoroughly in our Sanskrit classes. So there is a question here that senayoho ubhayoho madhye. This kind of seems like repetition, because I already told that senayoho alone would means two armies, but actually it is the, and both and middle, both is not required because it's a dual. So that is correct. That can be emphasis as well as it's a poem, right? It's not a grammar book. Bhagavad Gita is a, so for a poet will have far more expression, in far more freedom in the expressions, and sometimes these words could be used to make up the verse also. So Madhya is in the middle, like he is in the middle of the two armies. Is Madhyam not pronoun? No, Madhya is not pronoun. Madhyam is actually a, it can take the different cases. But I'll double check also, in case it is a pronoun. I'll respond to you separately. Is this King Bharata the brother of Lord Rama? Okay, so this is related to Bharata, the king, descendant of Bharata. So in this case, it is not Bharata, the brother of Lord Rama. It is Bharata, son of Shakuntala and Dushyanta. That has also been a very famous Bharata name in the Indian, you can say, scriptures. There is a question, Swamiji, then according to this verse, sorrow can only be eliminated by higher knowledge. So sorrow here, Arjuna is realizing the fundamental source of sorrow, which is that one can be subjected to sorrow no matter what the circumstances. In order to remove the seed of that sorrow, the higher knowledge alone can remove that. There is a question, I am not clear on the purpose of Anvaya. So Anvaya purpose is primarily, this is for Sanskrit. So if you know Sanskrit words, how would you put this thing in a text format? So this is a verse, and verse, even though Sanskrit is has a lot of flexibility in the word orders, but when you say the same thing in a text where it makes more sense, then how do you put the words together? That's what is Anvaya. So there is a question, Swamiji, is there an indication how much time this divine conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna took place? The time length of this. So we do not have any indication of time length in the scripture itself. and that is our original source of information. But if people chant Bhagavad Gita in maybe 1.5 to 2 hours, you can chant. So you can say roughly around that time, 1.5 hours maybe, or 2 hours, up to 2 hours. In the Prahasan, the question is, what does the word pra add to the meaning of has? So this is the word Prahasan, and it is derived from the root has. Has means to laugh, and pra is the prefix, verbal prefix. So pra is normally referred to the prakrushtrena, like in a special manner. Instead of like just laughing out loud, which would be more like has root would imply, prahas means in a special manner. So he is not like laughing out loud. So with this, we'll close our class, and from next verse onwards, you will see the actual teachings of Gita starting from verse number 211. So with this, we'll close the class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you all.